Coming up on We Are Not Journalists.
Ladies, if he likes to hang out in the parking lot at Arby's and shoot meth.
If that property is actually worth $1 billion, then the Trumps have committed felony tax evasion, and Eric and Don Jr. and Don Sr. are all going to go to prison for that.
Well, you know, Walter, I baked all these cookies for my godson's funeral.
They were never in the bathroom.
Dude, why would anybody keep them in a bathroom?
Welcome to We Are Not Journalists. I'm Maximilian Clark.
And I'm Walter Masterson. And I'm not a journalist.
And I'm not a journalist either. God, we've really got to hire a band.
Yeah, a full band. A big band. One of those big bands.
Yeah, a classic Benny Goodman style band. Wait, hang on. What you just said, did you mean like a big band, like a brass that plays swing? Or did you just mean like a large band? Like just like
swing. A brass band that does swing.
Okay, not
music.
one that's just like Shaquille O'Neal sized. What if we got that instead? Because I feel like that's more of a trademark, right? It's like, We Are Not Journalists. It's that show with that giant band.
No, why don't we get both? This is America.
Oh my God, just
we'll
the
get a
biggest swing
brass band, and every one of them is the size of Shaquille O'Neal.
It's gonna be the biggest swing band you've ever seen. Oh no. But anyways, on this week's show, we decided to mix things up. We're going to do things a little bit different. What are we doing this week?
Oh, I went to another Trump indictment. This time, it was in Miami.
All right. So, it's another day, another indictment. And our boy, Walty Mast, that's what I'm going to call you now, Walty, did indeed go down to the Sunshine State. To help us out, we have back on our show Tristan Snell.
Yes, Tristan. He's going to explain things. Oh, so Florida was just, it's just a travesty. So, it just seems like he's being set up because this is what I think is so the Democrats planted those documents that he had declassified.
So first off, what is he being charged with?
So Trump in the Mar-a-Lago documents case in Florida, Trump is being charged with willful retention of defense-related information. So we're talking military documents that were classified. Actually, I don't even know if they need to be classified, but it's just defense-related documents, and that you weren't supposed to have them, and you knew you weren't supposed to have them, and you had them anyway.
How can they prove that he knew that they were top secret and that they weren't declassified?
We have the recording of him waving around one of these documents while he was at Bedminster, in which he was bragging to people that he had the document and noted on this audio recording that he did not declassify it, and that now that he was no longer in office, he could no longer declassify it. It blows up. That recording completely destroys that defense. It's gone.
So you are saying that this whole case rests on the testimony of known liar Donald Trump.
That's a good way of putting it. Except that it's not his testimony, it's better. It's a recording. So you can't really cross-examine a recording or question its credibility.
Yeah, how convenient.
I know, how convenient, right? So there is... But it's and by the way, it is not hearsay because it actually constitutes a party admission, which is an exception to the hearsay rule. If someone's caught on tape saying I did it, and I know I did it, and a tape would normally be hearsay. It would actually be something you wouldn't be able to get into a case very easily. But that kind of recording is it gets around the hearsay rule under the federal rules of evidence.
I feel that has really clarified things. It seems like there's no way a reasonable person could object to this.
But
indictment.
Max, I don't really trust it.
You don't trust it?
I know he said this, and the media has said that he said this, and they played recordings that are unedited of him saying this. But I think there's a lot more going on that we're not talking about.
Here, we have the recording. Why don't we just listen to it?
Let me see that. I'll show you an example. He said that I wanted to attack Iran. Isn't it amazing? I have a big pile of papers. This thing just came up. Look. This was him. They presented me this. This is off the record, but...
Yep. He said off the record, I'm sorry, Your Honor, it Doesn't count. Thank you.
Saying off the record is basically like a get out of jail free card. Like you say that and it's dead. It's like you never said anything.
The liberals are saying that he didn't declassify, but sounds pretty declassified to me.
Well, I mean, it's off the record. It can't be any more declassified than that. I mean,
yeah, you pick up a nuclear document and you say off the record. That's it. Okay. Sorry, libtards.
Yeah. He did go on to say this, though.
This was done by the military, given to me. I think we can probably, right?
I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah, we'll have to try to
Declassify
figure out
it. See, as president, I could have declassified it. Now I can't, but this is classified.
Now we have a problem.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Right?
No,
hey, bring some Cokes in, please.
Is it just me, or is that kind of like the weirdest product placement of all time? Just bring in a couple of Cokes. Like, did he know that was going to be on CNN?
I know. I love how he puts a button on the whole scene.
Yeah, I know.
You gotta hand it to him.
No, he's a businessman through and through. Just the next promotional line of Cokes, it doesn't have your name on it, but it does have Valerie Plame's.
Yeah, and just maps on how to get around Israel's Iron Dome.
Grab a Coke with your friends in the Central Intelligence Agency. But, listening to this, and I've listened to this like a dozen times, it really feels like that's kind of the whole case. Like, how do you disagree with that?
Max, I feel like you're not looking deep enough. You're kind of getting all of your information from the legacy media. I really think you should listen to the conversations I had with true patriots down in Miami, Florida.
All right.
The National Archives already knew that he had the documents. They went to his house, looked at the room, and said, "This is fine. We only recommend that you add an extra lock to everything." And Trump said, "Okay." And then they added another lock.
They added another lock to the bathroom?
No, not to the bathroom. It was to the storage room where they had the documents.
They were never in the bathroom.
Dude, why would anybody keep them in a bathroom?
Explain to my audience why Trump is innocent.
Because he doesn't do anything wrong.
He declassified all of these documents.
He declassified them.
The president has the right to declassify, and he did declassify on his way out.
He was the president, and when he left, he declassified everything.
Every president has a right to declassify anything they want.
Yes, declassify them, and this is a witch hunt.
Yeah,
Another one.
And I also think that the Democrats planted these documents.
Yes.
I know that he declassified the documents, but I also think that the Democrats planted the documents.
It could be. There's rumors to that effect.
They planted the documents that he had declassified.
I wouldn't be surprised.
You wouldn't be surprised.
The process.
So he declassified them, and then they planted those same documents.
It's ridiculous. It's one thing after another.
Donald Trump declassified the documents, but I also think that they were planted.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would believe that.
I mean, so planting the documents, it's not far from what they do.
You wouldn't put it past them.
No. Well, no. As a matter of fact, I would almost bet on it.
I don't put planting out of the way of this DOJ.
He's keeping it for himself, maybe writing a book, putting it in his library.
He was writing a book. Yes, he was writing a book.
It's part of his life.
Yeah, it's part of his life. It's part of his history.
President Trump's documents were protected by the Secret Service, which their documents, again, were not protected by the Secret Service.
You bring up a good point. Pictures of these documents, they were being protected 24/7.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, and it looked like it too.
Most important message for all these woke people, liberals, whatever. Once you try to arrest your political opponent, you know that you're becoming third world country.
You have these Democrats chanting, "Lock him up." You have these Democrats.
What about Hillary Clinton?
Yeah. What about
those emails?
What about her email?
I mean, let's look at the Biden crime family. That's who should be.
What about Clinton? What about 33,000 emails that were bleached off her server? What about all the criminal?
What about her emails?
What about her emails? Lock her up.
Alvin Bragg, who's a nutcase. Jack Smith is totally corrupt. I think they should both be in jail.
This is called punishment by process.
Look at the picture. The bathroom is spotless. Dude, why would anybody keep them in a bathroom?
Look at the picture. The bathroom is spotless. Why would anybody keep them in a bathroom?
Somebody that has the money, that is a very clean
So
person.
someone was cleaning the bathroom every week.
Yeah, with the money he has, he's probably paying someone to do it, of course. It's a resort.
Why would anybody keep them in a bathroom?
So you're saying, so the Democrats planted those documents?
No, they moved them probably to the location for the picture. It's just a picture. It's just where they are at the moment. It's a resort. You know, that's like if you were to take the boxes and put them on the front of the house and take a picture. It doesn't mean that's where he kept them. That's just where they happened to take the picture after they took them.
Run that back for me, Chief.
So I feel like you've been watching too much MSNBC. What happened here was the Democrats planted the documents, but it doesn't matter that they planted the documents because Trump had already declassified the documents that the FBI planted. And when you're the president, you can declassify the documents. Also, Joe Biden had some in his garage.
So I think what we have here is some classic Darvo. For those of you who don't know, Darvo is a Japanese Roomba that not only vacuums your carpets, but scrubs your hardwoods.
I wish that was just what Darvo is. Yeah. What is Darvo? Deny, attack, reverse, victim, offender.
Yeah, okay. Let's do an example. Let's have you accuse me of eating your cookies.
I bought these cookies for an event I'm going to later on, and you ate all the cookies. You filmed yourself eating them, and you posted the video of yourself eating them on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. What do you have to say for yourself?
First of all, those cookies weren't the same cookies that you bought. How could they be? Like, why would I even eat the cookies? And as a matter of fact, I have often bought cookies only to have you eat them. You're always like, oh, geez, I can't have cookies at home because then I'm going to eat them and get fat and then my girlfriend's going to leave me. So I'm going to keep my cookies here. And then you eat all of my cookies. And as a matter of fact, I think if you play back all the clips of all time, I would say that you probably had way more cookies than I have. Meanwhile, I'm trying to put cookies in my pantry. I can't keep them there. Why can't I keep them there? Because you keep eating them. Also, Hunter Biden had a laptop that allowed cookies. So, make of that what you will.
Flawless logic. You're making too much sense.
No, I'm not. I'm just using Darvo correctly, right? Because what is the essential issue? The essential issue that you're mad about is that I ate your cookies. And notice by the end of that, are we even still thinking about the cookies that you bought that I clearly ate? No. Because I have brought in all of these outside details and I have flooded you with information, getting people to think like, oh, wait, who is the real cookie eater here, right? And we're not even thinking about this time. We're thinking about a history. Now, is that history true or false? Hard to say, right? I made it about things that are really hard to refute. Have you eaten more cookies than me in your life? How do we prove that?
Okay, so all right, so let's reverse it. Let's reverse it, and I'm going to give my example of Darvo.
Okay, great. Do you mean to give you a specific topic?
It's the same thing. It's about cookies.
Same thing. Okay, great. All right. Well, Walter, I baked all these cookies for my godson's funeral, and you ate them all. Oh, Jesus Christ. Hold on, can I take that again? Godson's funeral?
That was the first place you went. My godson is dead! He's dead!
The thing I'm upset about is
yeah. Okay, what the fuck is? How are you this bad at screwing up the analogy? Like you're, okay,
like it's not the. Hey, I am excellent at analogies. I think I might just be a little too good. I think it's distracting how good I am. I'm the best at analogies.
And on the day of my godson's funeral.
Okay,
try this again. So, okay, bear with us
one more time.
Those at home, everyone at home, bear with us. We're trying to figure out Darvo ourselves.
No, we got this. So, Walter, I made all of these cookies for my nephew's bar mitzvah.
Yeah,
he's still alive. To enjoy them, and I went to pack them up, and I saw that you ate them all. How could you do that? How could you eat all my special bar mitzvah cookies?
You know who the real cookie eaters are?
Don't say the Jews.
The Democrats. And if you look in history, they're the ones who've eaten the most cookies.
So your objection is that I didn't bring in the Democrats?
For anyone that doesn't really get the joke, go to a MAGA rally, accuse any of them of being racist. this will be their exact response.
I mean, did you know that Democrats were behind slavery? Like, the people actively flying Confederate flags are always like, the Democrats are the ones who started the KKK.
The Democrats are the ones who started the Civil War and then ran the Confederacy.
Lincoln was a Republican.
That's why I fly the opposite flag.
Jeez.
Darvo. Okay, I think everyone understands Darvo. So also while I was in Florida, I decided to ask MAGA what they think about their own governor, Ron DeSantis.
Ron DeSantis, he's the Republican governor of the state that these Republicans live in.
Yes, and he's running for president of the United States. So I wanted to know what the Republicans in his own state think of him. DeSantis, is he a patriot or deep state?
He's a good actor. Very good actor.
I'm a Florida boy. Where is Governor DeSantis?
Do you support DeSantis?
No. Ever since we put you as governor again, you're doing book tours. You're in California. You're in Chicago. You're not even here. We don't even see you here.
No, I will not vote for him, ever. We have our problems here. We got insurance. We have a housing crisis. We still have to rebuild Southwest.
And where is he? He's like doing his book tour in Japan.
He's everywhere. Idaho, New Hampshire. But the thing is, he's failing. He doesn't.
He's not even here to govern.
That's right. And he doesn't connect to the people. So there's no way he's going to gain support. He'll be lucky to get reelected next time around.
I mean, it was only a year and a half ago he took over the governorship again, and now he's running for president. So you're gonna lose him as he's running. He's gonna be distracted from being governor and to run for president. That shouldn't happen.
Finish his second term. Yeah.
He knew he was going to run for president before 2022.
That's a good point.
His support comes primarily from bankers, billionaires, a wealthy class.
I think DeSantis should have waited his turn for 2028, and I think he's not making a very good political decision right now. He keeps going down in the polls.
What do we think of DeSantis?
He's a great governor, but he's not ready for prime time.
You changed the election so you could run, but you didn't give us hand-counted paper ballots. You reserved the right to hand our health care over to the WHO. I don't understand that one either. There's a lot of bad bills coming out of Tallahassee. This is not a free state, and as soon as they lock everything up, everybody will find out the truth.
MAGA's not going to forget.
MAGA does not forget.
It was a betrayal. He betrayed the MAGA movement.
Betrayed Florida.
He did.
What's funny is that they all brought up very valid points.
Yeah, not used to that at a MAGA rally.
At a MAGA rally. There was a housing crisis, an insurance crisis, and he's not there. He's not present. He's off in other countries.
Yeah, instead of governing Florida. That one lady did mention that he is also secretly selling all their information to the World Health Organization. So, I felt a little grounded by some of these complaints.
Yeah, and the other guy going, he's in the pocket of billionaires and big corporations. You're like, check.
Yeah, he's an establishment Republican. What do you expect? This is your party. This is what you've been voting for your entire life. What are you talking about?
Yeah, and I love how none of them could open their eyes until he went after Trump.
Yeah.
And then they're like, we can see it all so clearly now.
Yeah, they're having an education crisis. It's a crisis all over. And it's not just in Florida that we're seeing this, right? Like, we went to CPAC and there wasn't there was one very sad DeSantis fan at CPAC.
CPAC viciously hated him. That was an eye-opener.
Yeah.
And then I went to a DeSantis rally here in Long Island.
Yeah, in Long Island, right. And I love the way that you disrupted it, because you disrupted it using people power.
Give a warm Long Island welcome to the great governor from the state of Florida, my friend Ron DeSantis. That vision and then deliver results for people, then guess what happens? We're able to win places Republicans haven't been able to win before. We won Miami-Dade County, our most populous county.
Yeah. Trump!
Believe that.
So it's about here in the back of the room where I'm screaming Trump and I'm starting to be gently escorted out.
Yeah, a couple of pretty beefy security guards there. What's going through your head right now?
I was honestly expecting for people to just... I was honestly expecting for people to be waiting for me in the parking lot. I mean, it's Long Island.
But the funny thing is, there were people waiting for you in the parking lot.
To thank me. I tried my best. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
You guys did a great job.
Thank you. Are you all leaving because they kicked out the Trump supporters? Yeah. Wow. So everyone's leaving because they kicked out the Trump supporters.
Yes.
Oh.
That's okay. We heard
And they said my freedom of speech doesn't matter because it's private property.
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't that
Oh,
crazy?
really? Yeah. I know.
Bullshit.
I know.
You know, First Amendment apparently doesn't matter.
Good old pudding fingers. Like, say what you want. Trump is a genius at, like, catty 8th grade nicknames for people.
Did he come up with pudding fingers?
Yeah, he came up with pudding fingers for Ron DeSantis. He doesn't use it that much. I don't think it played well, but I love it so much. I take so much glee in him just sniping at these people that I also hate. Yeah, and this is why I'm always talking about how it's not about political party. It's not red versus blue. There are certain things that we can all band together about. And one of those things is hating Ron DeSantis.
I think that can unite America. I think he's a truly awful human being. And he's, Trump, I mean, he's a sassy bitch and he gets good ratings. And I mean, he is a charismatic fascist. DeSantis is just a fascist.
Yeah.
This is what would happen if DeSantis is what would happen if a fascist took power that actually knew how to maneuver politically. Trump is a fascist that does not know how to maneuver.
I hear people say that, and I don't know if I totally agree. Because, like, DeSantis, like, in his own backyard is doing okay, but he hits the national stage kind of like a lead balloon. The thing about Ron DeSantis that I think always gets me is he is so much scarier when you read about him than when you see video, because he has, like, the most annoying voice. So, like, they'll run a super scary sounding headline where, Ron DeSantis says, as soon as we take power, we're going to take all of our enemies and lock them up like they deserve. But then if you click the video in the article, it's always like, guys!
He's like, hey, guy, you eating an icy? That has too much sugar in it.
By the way, when we win, and, oh boy, we're gonna
put the thing, Florida's where woke goes to die.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm gonna lock up my political opponents for sure, guys. We're gonna make America Florida.
How do they know it was me torturing prisoners in Guantanamo?
Yeah, it really takes some of the sting out. Just like, we should be paying for radio ads for Ron DeSantis.
How is he so bad in person? He's like such an uncharismatic fascist that it actually makes you appreciate charismatic fascists.
Yeah, like, people are saying that Ron DeSantis is Trump with intelligence and that's why he's scary. Yeah, because charisma is his dump stat. He was just like, let me take some points and put 14 in intelligence.
You're going all D&D on us.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's
a perfect reference, dude.
Everyone gets it.
Yeah, yes, everyone listening is gonna get. I see you too. That's why you're tuning into our podcast for the
occasional D&D reference,
analogy, metaphor, simile. Are we still recording?
Yeah, so we got that?
I'm gonna go pee.
Okay, then I guess we'll be back in a minute with more We Are Not Journalists. Welcome back to the second half of We Are Not Journalists. To kick off the second half, I want to point out just how many people here believe that Trump saying he declassified them makes them declassified, as if there's not, like, a process to go through.
So Trump said they're declassified, so they're declassified.
That's not how this works. This is Michael Scott in The Office saying, I declare bankruptcy. You can't just like go into a room and say it.
I didn't have a problem with Michael Scott declaring bankruptcy in the office.
I worry that you had the wrong takeaway here.
Yeah, I mean, and Max, don't discount Michael Scott as a manager. He was phenomenal during his term. I mean, he founded a fantastic charity, Scott's Tots.
Scott's Tots? Wait, did you see that episode?
Yeah, didn't seem any. That seems like a normal charity.
Where you just say that you have a charity, but you don't actually contribute any money or resources, and everyone who relies on the charity just kind of gets hosed?
Okay, Max, I feel like you don't understand how charities work. You know what? Another episode, perhaps.
Well, actually, while we're speaking of defrauding people, while we were recording these episodes, another court decision came in against Trump. And Tristan tells us that the media is not covering it correctly.
I was going to try to explain it. Let's just have Tristan explain it since, lawyer.
So a bunch of these buildings each of them is owned by a particular LLC, and these LLCs are being dissolved and eliminated. This is absolutely massive. It will mean Trump loses control over his properties. They're put into receivership, much like what would happen if it were a bankruptcy, and he's going to lose control of over them, and they will probably be auctioned off with whatever the proceeds are being going to pay the banks the banks and other creditors that still have debts outstanding against those LLCs. That is what is about to happen. He is going to lose these buildings. His real estate empire in New York is done in all likelihood. And that's what happened this week before the trial. It's because the judge issued what's referred to as summary judgment. Summary judgment effectively says, yep.
Well, wait, but I just listened to Donald Trump Jr. say that, it's victimless, that, they paid these loans back.
It doesn't matter. They haven't paid them all back. All of those buildings are probably still have hundreds of millions of dollars of debt outstanding. In total, it's in the billions for how much is attached to those buildings. So it's not like the debts have been paid off. They've been making payments. They've been making them slower than they were supposed to, and they actually had to get some leniency from some of these banks. But the point is, it doesn't matter. The law is the law. If you commit that fraud, if you commit the misrepresentation, and what were the misrepresentations? Gross overvaluations, mischaracterizations, lies about the value of these buildings. In some instances, saying that the building was worth 22, 28, 33 times, not percent, times. So we're talking 2,800% higher, 3,300% higher. That's how high. That's how much higher he was claiming those properties were worth compared to what their tax assessed value was. So he was doing some combination of lying to the banks. And also, Eric Trump went on Twitter the other day and said Mar-a-Lago's worth $1 billion.
Yeah, it's worth $1 billion. Ted Cruz stayed there.
The tax assessed value of Mar-a-Lago is about $28 million. If that property is actually worth $1 billion, then the Trumps have committed felony tax evasion, and Eric and Don Jr. and Don Sr. are all going to go to prison for that. So open up a new case then. Oh, really? It's really worth $1 billion? Then you committed gross tax evasion. You can't say the property is worth X. And that what I said on Twitter the other day, just to bring it home, it's like, imagine you have a house that's worth $300,000. That's around the average price for an American home. $300,000. Then you go into the bank and you claim that your house is worth $8.5 million so that you can trick the bank into giving you a whole bunch of cash loans. That's a felony. Now, it didn't get charged as a felony here. It should have been. I still think it may, but it got charged as civil fraud under New York law, and that's why we're seeing all of this happen. But you can't do that. That is a gross misrepresentation. It is fraud. And under New York law, you don't have to show that there was a victimization of the bank.
All right, that's a lot of heavy stuff. And we are not journalists, right? So do we have anything like, a little zany, a little fun?
It was great to speak to MAGA that day and tell him about my problems and how the woke left is destroying Hooters. You remember the first time your dad took you to Hooters, right?
My dad didn't show up to any of his weekend visitations. so I had to go to Hooters
Well, I'm
on my
sorry
own.
for that. But you get it. Had your dad been, more present in your life, and if America actually valued, the nuclear family, your dad would have brought you to Hooters.
Undoubtedly.
And we just play the clip. I'm dealing with indoctrination with my own son.
Wow.
I had my first unsupervised visit with him. I just had my first unsupervised visit with my son. We go out.
How old is he?
So he's in second. He's in third grade. I think he's in the third grade. I take him to. Can we say the name of the restaurant? I took him to Hooters. I take him to Hooters. I take him to Hooters, and the first thing he asks the waitress, "What are your pronouns?"
Oh no! You know what? You need to get him out of school and either get him into private school if you have the money, or teach him yourself.
They're indoctrinating the kids in school.
The first question he asks the waitress is, "What are your pronouns?" It's embarrassing. And he's in the third grade, and I was like, "Who's teaching you this?"
Wait, your kid said that, not the waiter?
No, he asked the waitress.
No,
what
that's
her...
even worse than I thought. I think he said the waitress asked you guys.
No, that's even worse. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, where did he learn that?
I think that the military is going to step in, because I think the only way is the military.
The world's military is laughing at our military when they're trying to figure out what pronoun they're on. They're figuring out how to take us out.
It's just, there were just so many things going on in that story.
There were so many red flags.
There were so many.
You sat on the phone with me, and we intentionally put as many red flags into that story as humanly possible. I don't know my child's age, what grade they're in.
Your first unsupervised visit, you go to Hooters. This is before anything that they would be distracted by. They're just listening with their full attention. It's just like, how do these people socialize? Like, can you imagine these people on a date? Like they're just talking to someone, just like talking nonstop about their ex, right? They're just like, they're going to the bathroom a lot, There's just so many red flags.
I'd love to see a reality TV show where it's about how many red flags people can miss. Oh wait, they already have that. It's called Love Is Blind. Never mind.
Hey! Be nice to the Love Is Blind people. Did you hear about Love Is Blind?
What?
The lawsuit about Love Is Blind?
No.
Because so they're trapped in a prison for 8 weeks, and if they leave, they can be sued for $50,000. That's in the contract they sign. They're not given food or water, just alcohol. They have supervised bathroom visits. They are trapped into these boxes until they agree to marry a waiter. That is the Love Is Blind scenario. And they're absolutely insane.
Okay, so I guarantee that being locked away in an 8-week prison where you're only fed alcohol and they watch you go to the bathroom is better than dating MAGA.
Just in general, free
just in general.
People who do it by choice because they're imprisoned in an ideological trap.
These are people that ignore racism, economic inequality, sexism. They ignore so many things. I don't have to really go into it all. I have documentation.
Okay, when a counselor, you may present Exhibit A.
Okay, yeah.
So I don't know if liberals realize that Republicans are constantly speaking to each other in code out in public. Leave little clues for each other that only we will pick up on so we can identify each other out in the wild.
So this is a TikTok that went viral because this woman thinks that she's being subtle.
Yeah, well, they have a secret code, Walter. I'm not sure if you listened to the intro.
Okay, so it's yeah, right. So okay, sorry. So this is the secret coded language of conservatives.
I call this the quiet code. I mean, there is a whole conservative world happening around liberals that they just actually don't pick up on. It's kind of like the Muggles in Harry Potter when they just don't notice all the magic happening around them. Like when they see people walking through brick walls and train stations. What are some examples of this quiet code? First and foremost, if a guy has moderate as his political views in a dating app, then ladies, he is a keeper because he is most likely a Republican. There are other subtle indications that you are politically simpatico. If a guy drives any kind of pickup truck, or if his love language is sending tweets, especially if his username is something like user12437. That is legacy from the pre-Elon days when we were all afraid to like anything or risk getting locked out of our accounts.
So ladies, if he has an anonymous Twitter account so he can be racist on the internet, honey, that's a keeper.
If they're ever wearing anything from Orvis or Bass Pro Shop, if they have the All In Pod or Joe Rogan as recently played in their Spotify, if they watch...
Ladies, if he has a second cell phone that he doesn't let you see, well, that is marriage material right there.
I'm going to wring out my panties right now.
If he says things like, I'm going to wring out my panties right now.
Ladies, if he has a restraining order, says things like, I met her in the fall, but she turns 18 in the spring.
Ladies, if he asks if your apartment is 100 feet away from a school.
Somebody stop me.
Ladies, if his dog flinches every time he makes a sudden movement, that is a man who believes in alpha males.
If they watched Yellowstone or are into grilling, if they have a sudden newfound favor of Bill Maher, like in the last 2 years.
Ladies, if he listens to podcasts on why you shouldn't trust women.
Like, if your hobbies are shooting beer cans off of a old wooden fence.
No. Ladies, if he likes to hang out in the parking lot at Arby's and shoot meth, that's a keeper.
Ladies, if he has a bumper sticker that says heritage, not hate, even though he's from Rhode Island. Got my wife with that one. I mean, obviously she's just saying things that define any conservative and not like any specific one. Yeah. Like basically she's saying like if your only qualification for dating is the same political values.
Her only qualification is they believe in a Jewish cabal. Yeah, that's her. So basically, her only qualification for dating is that you believe in a Jewish cabal.
Well, I mean, but if you think about it, it kind of makes sense. Can you imagine just like saying that in bed when you wake up? It's like, and like if your partner doesn't also believe that, how awkward that gets. Yeah, like, you can't say like, oh, we should really lock up Fauci.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know, how was your first date? Oh, it was great. But I mentioned Soros. She said, who?
Actually, I guess when it comes down to it, is MAGA really doesn't date because 95% of them get married in high school.
Yeah, it's also true. I'm like,
But what about second marriage?
What about hey, like, ladies? If he hates Jews and loves Israel,
what we're talking about, red flags. But you know, in case you think that we are just biased because of our own politics and that, like, obviously we're only talking to dumb people, we're talking to everyone there.
People like left a comment like, you found the dumbest people at the rally. I'm like, it's a Mike Lindell rally. God damn it.
They're here protesting the Trump documents case. Yeah, you know, it's not like the standard isn't super high. In general, the median mind isn't that sharp. We've just never had it not work. Except when you talk to literally anyone else.
This is me at a Pride event in upstate New York talking with normal teenagers telling the same story. I had an unsupervised weekend with my son. He's in the third grade. And I brought him to Hooters.
You could already hear them laughing. You could already hear them laughing, Walter.
The kids are all right. The first thing he asks the waitress is, what are your pronouns? And it was embarrassing.
You're saying that we're indoctrinating kids, but you're bringing your son to Hooters. Hooters. Do you not see the problem? Women are wearing... It's Hooters.
How's that different than bringing your child to Drag Story
Hour? Or any
Hour?
of us naked.
But I saw a video on Libs of TikTok where they were like dressed like a strip club.
Right.
Well,
That
the
was
internet,
strip club.
The internet is different than real life.
The internet is not real life. Internet is not real life. Internet is fake.
So you're saying libs of TikTok is not real?
No, it's not real. I'm sure some of the stuff that on there are real, and maybe sometimes this stuff happens, but not a lot. It is a lot different than taking your 2-year-old or your second grade son, third grade son to Hooters.
It's been a long time since I've had an unsupervised visit with my son.
Supervised? You're an adult.
I know, but you know what? I shouldn't have to be supervised. Thank you.
What?
My visits with my own son should be unsupervised.
What did you do?
I just had to start, catching up on my child support. I feel like that's cancel culture. It's cancel
culture? That's not cancel culture. That's you being a bad dad.
Drag queens and all that, they aren't overly sexualizing women and creating a really horrible image for them.
You can walk over there and look at the drag queens, and they're not showing anything. They're in full length clothing, and they're just performing a show. They're being very respectful.
They're also giving out water and making sure everybody's staying healthy and safe the entire time.
They're also not naked.
Maybe you should stop this line of generational trauma where you're pushing this toxic idea of masculinity onto your children.
We're too soft on our children. We don't spank them anymore.
Well, that's abuse. That's because it's illegal. It's been illegal.
They call it trauma bonding.
Well, they stop.
Gender expression, it's just silly. But I want to raise my child to be a man.
Well, even my dog disagrees with that. Gender expression is silly, but you want to raise your boy to be a man. Can you repeat that?
That is gender expression. You want your son to have gender expression, but you're saying
I want to.
Expression is silly.
Then why do I have to raise my boy to be a man?
You don't. Nobody told you that you have to do that. You're choosing to raise your boy to be a man.
You have to do that by yourself.
No one has ever
You brought
said
your
that
son
to
to
anyone.
Hooters.
That is a you choice.
Yeah.
These are children.
Notice how they listened to everything, and they were like, notice how many red flags they spotted in about 10, 15 seconds. They had questions.
Parents, it doesn't matter if you're right or left. Teach critical reasoning skills. And shout out to our sponsors. Love is Blind, coming back for a new season. See what happens to 20 people with no personality when we lock them in a greenhouse without any sort of cover from the hot summer sun. This season, Into the Hexagon, we're introducing a fun new twist, fentanyl.
Yes.
Just a little bit, just to keep things spicy. All right, you sexy people. Unfortunately, that's it for this episode of We Are Not Journalists. Thanks for tuning in. Join us next week when we send Walter down to Hotlanta to talk about the Georgia indictment and also help construct.
I visited Cop City.
Cop City.
If you don't know what Cop City is, tune in next week and you will know what Cop City is.
We'll get some first-hand look at Cop City.
And we couldn't leave Florida, home of the Kennedy Space Center, without this MAGA explaining Space Force.
Enjoy, everyone. See you next time.
Trump has a nuclear football because you cannot turn the nuclear power over when you're in an insurrection.
Still has the briefcase?
He does.
Wow. Okay. Tell me everything.
Space Force has got it all. And you know what? The scum keeps rising to the top.
Wait, tell me about Space Force. What's Space Force?
Space Force. Don't you remember Trump created the
he
Space
created
Force?
Space Force.
So Space Force has nothing to do with space. Space is intelligence. This is intelligence. And that they have recorded it all. Space Force has got it all.
What do they have?
They got the riots from Black Lives Matter. They got Antifa. They got J6. They got it all.
From space?
Yeah. Well, it's technology basically.
It's technology.
They also got the rods of God too. You know what that is?
What are the rods of God?
Think about it. Rods of God. It's something that comes directly from space, and it pinpoints your target. He lost. He let them steal the election because they tried to steal it during Hillary, right? And the military stepped in, right? And that's why they didn't steal it because we don't elect people anymore. They're selected, and that's been happening for God knows how long.
Yeah, they're selected by the Supreme Court.
Yeah, and who would they're selected by the globalists who put all the money behind them and they put all the fake votes and whatever they do to turn an election. Yeah. And there was a 16-year plan between Obama and Hillary.